All right. So as weird as it sounds, flexibility has played a huge part in my life. It is both in sports, and I play baseball, both in sports and in life. The general term of flexibility has come back to me time and time again. In sports, it comes back to me relating to my muscles. I've had many injuries, the majority lower body injury, and I feel that is because I am very inflexible, leading to a lot of pulling with my muscles, pulling on my hips, pulling on my knees, because I've had a lot of lower back problems, and one of the main causes could possibly be your hamstrings and your quads pulling on your hips in different ways, leading to rotations in your hip causing more pain. But in general, if you ever find a long distance runner or a sprinter, they're normally more flexible, leading to an increased output, which also can lead to an increased speed, as well as the output and just overall performance increasing. On the contrary, the less flexible you have, the more your performance decreases, and you're actually at a greater risk for injury as well. You are also at more of a risk if you aren't warming up properly and before stretching. If you think about it, like the rubber band I have on here, if that person was pulling on a normal warm room temperature rubber band, they were able to stretch it, and the flexibility, the elastic property allows it to come back. But if you have that rubber band put in a freezer or a refrigerator, and then try to stretch it as it's cold, and which is the same thing like the saying working out in the cold muscle, the same thing. If you pull on the rubber band when it's cold, you are potentially ripping the rubber band and snapping it, which is the same concept as being less flexible relating to your muscles. How this relates to my life has become a major part of my college experience. Flexibility in my schedule, I have learned. I wasn't normally flexible. I've been always very stubborn. I've always wanted to do what is best for me and not listen to other people normally. I'm always the one that is by myself, trying to fix everything by myself and not listen to other people. But what I have noticed, especially from my teacher and my advisor and everyone around me, is that you need that flexibility in life to be successful and to get where you want to be. So what I have here, the one picture that I have is very, it relates very well to me, because a lot of the bad habits that I have are in the way, because I'm used to, if I'm told something, I will judge it right away. I'm not going to do what I'm told right away unless I actually process it and take time to actually think, is this better for me, or is this just something I'm being told to do? Where flexibility comes in is if you're willing to listen to everybody and you're willing to work with everybody, and I guess just stretch out like the rubber band, just stretch out, I guess, your mind, your life, your time schedule, then you will have an easier time, especially with jobs and your boss telling you how to do something. If you're more willing to listen, social life, if you're stretching out your schedule, then you're willing to hang out, increase your social life with all your friends. Um, and the opposite of that becomes less flexible. If you are less flexible and more like me, these past 3 years, everything is 10 times harder than it normally is. Because if you hear something and you don't agree with it, you aren't willing to work with it, what good is it actually doing? You are putting yourself in a disadvantage without even knowing you are, because being flexible is a great life skill to have, and if you aren't willing to work and continue to improve as flexibility increases, like for me, I had a very hard time trying to be flexible with my sports schedule, my athletic schedule, and then my academic schedule, and my clinical schedule for school. I had a very hard time trying to balance that and being flexible and being here and there and there and everywhere. So what ended up happening was I ended up quitting baseball. When I decided that I wanted to come back to the sport, it was it was very hard, because being not as flexible and being stubborn about this is what's best for me, and I'm not going to tell anybody else. It put a lot of people, especially my advisor, at a disadvantage and caused them a lot of hurt because I wasn't willing to take on the life skill of being flexible and working with people and going through the whole process of this is what I want, this is what my next steps are going to be. Whereas someone who I guess has had more experience with flexibility and has gained that life tool, they probably would have handled my situation a lot better. Whereas I am just learning now that this is what I have to do. This is the next step. I need to look at myself first, but then I need to also consult with other people and be more flexible and be more willing to bring in a crew of people to help me, whereas normally I am all by myself. So that's all I have, and thank you.